to use the Zoom. So please turn off the microphone when you are not speaking. Turn on the video if you can. And as I mentioned, feel free to use the chat for questions and reactions. And you can use the emojis like clap, thumbs up, and raise your hand whenever you want to express. And also you want to react. And please be reminded that this whole workshop is recorded so that we can also share with others afterwards. Next slide, please. So as you know, like this disability inclusion workshop is part of the Movers program. So the Movers program wants to mobilize youth across Asia Pacific to raise awareness about the sustainable development goals and develop entrepreneurial mindsets by organizing and facilitating the Movers workshop in their communities. So after the Movers workshop, you too can bring it to your friends and community. And also this is what we hope that is after this workshop, please let us know if you are interested in hosting another disability inclusion workshop, and we will share like the slide, and then we will talk to you, and you will have a movers mentor, and hopefully we can have more and more people who is willing to facilitate the disability inclusion workshop and bring this agenda to more people. So it comes now to the objectives of today's workshop. Oh, I saw Siti mention good afternoon from Brunei. Good afternoon. So the objectives of this one, first is to, of course, learn about disability and persons with disabilities. And second objective is to start developing a disability inclusive mindset. Last is to begin to take some specific actions to promote disability inclusion to day-to-day work. So for today's agenda, we will mainly have 5 parts. So that's a lot for you to learn. So please bear with us until the very end. So first, we will learn about what is disability. Second, we will learn about who are persons with disabilities. Thirdly, we will learn about UN's efforts on disability inclusion. And after that, we will learn about the role of social enterprises in promoting disability inclusion. And lastly, we will learn about disability inclusive languages and interactions. So as you all know that Movers Workshop, one characteristic of Movers Workshop is that we are a really interactive workshop, and we hope to interact as much as possible with the participants, and we want to hear and learn from you as well. So the first activity we have is from 1 to 10. How is your current level of energy? Please feel free to unmute yourself to answer this question, or please feel free to type in the chat. From 1 to 10, how is your current level of energy? So maybe I can share mine. Oh, I saw Alisa mention 10. Kavya mentioned 10. Wow, and Jasril mentioned 10. Okay, Rashana mentioned 8. Oh, 10 for me, thank you. Wow, feels like we have a house full of so many energy with us in the room. And I saw 8 from Rajana, Dr. Satya 7, and Shan mentioned 0. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope after this workshop, you will be more energetic then. And I saw Wasim mentioned 8. Yeah, I apologize if I mispronounce your name. So please let me know the correct pronunciation if you wish. And Shar mentioned 8. Okay, thank you everyone for your response. So the second question is, at the end of this workshop, I will be happy if, please feel free to write in the chat box. I remember actually for me, I also started from joining the disability inclusion workshop first, and then become like a Movers co-facilitator myself. So I recall when I first joined this disability inclusion workshop, the sentence that I write down here is that I will be happy if I learn more about disability inclusion. Yeah, so I guess that's why you all come for, right? Okay, I see Shar mentioned I can learn how I can empower my community. Oh, that's so nice. Yeah, I also hope that this workshop can bring you some skills or techniques that you can empower your community. But I'm sure like by just joining this workshop, you already step out the first step to empower your community. Any other comments or any other from other people? I saw caveat. I'll be happy to bring more awareness about disability. Oh, that's so nice. And then from JJ, I'll be happy if more young people will advocate for disability inclusion and safe spaces. Thank you. And then, oh, Shar mentioned you have bipolar 1 and active in mental health groups. Oh, thank you for sharing with us. And I hope that you can learn and then bring this back to empower your community and then maybe even become our next co-facilitators in the disability inclusion workshop. Okay, so thank you everyone for your answer in the chat box. Okay, Marjana mentioned at the end of this workshop, I'll be more happy to learn and understand more about our different able friends. Oh, that's so nice. So thank you all for your answers and response. So let's move to the next slide. So this is a housekeeping rules for the movers workshop for everyone to follow. It's actually very easy. First of all is we hope you all can listen with attention and share with intention. And in this workshop, as I mentioned, we hope to create a safe and open environment. So we suspend judgment. Thirdly, hope you can trust the process and the facilitator. Maybe the facilitators may not be like the best in knowing topics of the disability inclusion, but we try our best to let you know like what we know. And also feel free to let us know if there's some additional information or knowledge you think would be useful to learn more about disability inclusion. So feel free to share your feelings and reactions anytime. And last but not least, as how every movers workshop is to have fun and make some new friends. So last slide before I pass on to the next co-facilitators is a starting question of like we really kicking off this workshop. So how do you define disability? Please share your answer on the chat box. It might be tough, right? This question, if this is your first time joining a workshop that is related to disability inclusion. So I think for me, when I first see this question, how do I define disability? My answer is quite simple and straightforward. At that time, to me, persons with disabilities are someone that are visually impaired or in wheelchair. Because at that time, I don't have any knowledge to disability. So what I know is just what I see. So I only can distinguish those in wheelchair or visually impaired as persons with disability. So that's why at that time, my definition towards persons with disabilities is those who are either visually impaired or those who are in wheelchair. Oh, thank you, Siti. I saw your response. I define disabilities as people who have special needs. I see. Thank you for your response. Any other response on how do you define disability? Maybe Jules, how do you define disability?
I think I also share the same opinion with Vivian, like when I first joined the Movers program and Movers workshop on disability inclusion, I also define disability as a person who we see, sitting at the wheelchair or visually impaired or, have problems physically, mentally, but I don't really know how to, define it at that time because it's really new. So I resonate with you a lot on it. How about you, Vivian?
Yeah, because when I was in the university, I got a fellow student who was still a disability too. and we have a close relationship. So before I met him, I maybe shared the same definition as a lot of people think, but after we met and we talk a lot, I feel the disability is as the same as us. They're same intelligent, clever, and kind of like the normal people. So and also his grade is really high in our class. So he changed my mind of this field, and this is why I start to focus on the group baby in the normal people who are in the edge, and I got the review of this group.
Thank you both Jules and Jingy for your sharing. And I saw Alisa's comment. How about someone whose ability have been dissed? Is that like a funny comment? Yeah, thank you, Alisa, for your response. And then anyone else, feel free to share how do you define disability on the chat. So after knowing that, yes,
I would like to share. I mean,
sure.
like you and Jules just mentioned that I also used to see disability just as, physical disabilities. But after joining the workshop, I learned that disabilities, it can be quite diverse too. And we often ignore neurodivergent, disabilities as well. And we are soon gonna learn about it in the workshop.
Okay, thank you, Kavya, for your response. Yeah, I think that's why we needed this workshop to really let everyone know that what does disability inclusion mean and what is disability and persons with disabilities. So I hope that after this workshop we all can know, like not really correct, but like we all can understand what is disability and what does disability inclusion mean. So moving next, we will be going to the part 1 of today's workshop, which is disabilities and persons with disabilities. But before that, as what Movers Workshop we always do, can I invite all of you to turn on your camera and then we will take a group photo to kickstart this
Hi,
workshop.
JJ. I miss you.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, so if you can please turn on your camera and then we will take a group photo.
Okay.
Okay, and then for Movers workshop, we will have 3 signature poses. So the first one is the small heart like this. And then the second one is a cheek heart like this. And then the last one is a big heart like this. Yeah. So feel free to choose the one that you feel you like the most, and then we will take a photo. So please open your camera if you can, and then also please decide which heart you are going to use. Okay, so okay, so the small Korean heart is just putting your thumb and your second finger together. So it's a finger heart. And then a cheek heart is to use your left hand or right hand to do like a half heart shape and then put next to your cheek. Then it's a cheek heart. And then the big heart shape is to use your 2 arms and then like put your fingers on your top of your head and then make it like a heart shape. Yes. So, okay, please get ready and then I will take the screenshot. So 1, 2, 3. Again. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
So next, I'll pass to Jules then. She will lead us through what is disabilities and what does persons with disabilities mean.
Okay, thank you, Vivian, for your part. So I think moving now on to my part, we gonna discover and explore together disabilities and person with disabilities. So feel free to leave your comment or any emoji in the chat or anywhere at every part where you feel like you want to share something. We're always open to that. So let's go to the first part. So this is the type of impairment. So we know that there are many types of impairments, and these impairments lead to different types of disabilities. So it's needed to understand these kind of impairments. So you can see the list right here. In a very normal words, I'm gonna go through each with you so that you have the vision and you can kind of understand type of different impairments. So the first one, it's the cerebral palsy. So cerebral palsy, it's a condition that affects movement and muscle coordination. So people might use a wheelchair or have trouble with balance and movement if they have cerebral palsy. Moving to the second one, so for arthrogryposis, this means the joints are stiff and don't move normally. This is often coming from birth, which can make it hard to move arms or legs. And then the third one is short stature. So this refers to people who are much shorter than average due to medical conditions. The fourth one you can see right here, it's called amputations. It's when someone is missing part or all of a limb, like an arm or leg, either from birth or due to injury or surgery. The fifth one is intellectual impairment. So this is a condition where someone has limitations in learning, problem solving, or understand things compared to others in their age. The sixth one, it's the leg length discrepancy. So this is to describe the type of impairment that one leg is shorter than other, which can affect how a person walks or stand. As you can see in the picture and icon here, the seventh one, it's a vision impairment. So it's partial or total loss of vision. People might use a white cane or need assistance seeing. The eighth one is deafness. As you can see here, and you can guess here, it's a partial or total hearing loss. So some people might use sign language or hearing aids when they have deafness. The next one is hypertonia. So this is when the muscles are too tight or stiff, making movement harder or slower than normal. The next one is asetosis. It's involuntary and wiggling movements that people can't control, often due to brain injury or cerebral palsy. The next one is ataxia. As you can see here, it's describe a condition that affects balance and coordination, making walking or using hands difficult and shaky. As you can see the icon here, so this person is shaky, so it's because he has ataxia. And the final one, it's a limb deficiency. So this describes a type of impairments that someone's have a condition of missing parts of arms or legs, which can happen from birth or later in life. So yeah, we just go through all the types of impairments. If I miss anything, just feel free to share in the comments. Or if you know other kind of impairments, also share in the comment section as well. So this kind of chart and then types help us to understand that disabilities can look and feel very different physically or mentally, and it's important to recognize and support those differences with empathy and inclusion. So now you know about the type of impairments. Next time, when we go on the street, make sure that we notice that and also support and assist people with types of impairments from what I just described. Moving on to the next slide. Oh, I can see here that Caitlin was sharing that she has cerebral palsy since she was 18 months old. So Caitlin, you can also share later in your part, about your mission or about your journey to, people, the person who empowering a lot of people today. The story of Caitlin, it's very, very inspiring people. So stay tuned to her part as well. So moving on to the next slide, it's about what is disabilities. So we just talk about the type of impairments and person disabilities, as you can see right here on the screen. It's include those who have long-term either physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory impairments, which in interaction with various barriers may hinder their full and effective participation in society on an equal basis with others. So I remember the comment from Alisa earlier when Alisa said disability is just, ability with a dis. So we often, think of disability as, something, abnormal, but according to, all the definitions and then the workshop that we're in right now, I think it's more on, identify disability in a right way, maybe beyond what we have, always understand before. So yeah, this is the definition of disability, and also for person with disabilities, it's include those who have long-term, physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory impairments as well. So this is the concept, involving concept that we currently have based on UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. Moving on to the next slide, where we will discover more on what is disability. You can see it right here. So disability, it's a result of interaction. So as you can see on your left side, it's an impairment, the medical conditions, all the type that we talked about earlier, and the barriers, which are the physical, attitudinal, communication, and social environment that make it disability. So it's a result of an interaction. So disability, in short, is a result of interaction between people living with impairments and barriers in physical, attitudinal, communication, and social environment. So two of them make a disability. So you can see right here. So that is the definition and also the visual, so that you can see it more, you can have more understanding on the disability itself. Next one, it's we're still in what is disability. So it's important to know that disability is not a person's characteristic. It should be separated. Disability, it's a result of interaction between people living with impairments and all kinds of barriers in our society, and have nothing to do with a person's characteristic. So it is not the inability to walk that keeps a person from entering a building by themselves, but the stairs that are inaccessible that keeps a wheelchair user from enter that building. So it's very important to know that, so you can see the visual right here. It's not about the person themselves or anything with their characteristic, but because of the physical the stairs that we see right here hinder them from entering the building. So yeah, that is for moving on to the next slides. We have modes of disability. So as we can see right here, we have 4 modes of disability. The first one is medical model. The second one is charity model. The third one is social model. And the final one is human rights model. So, we often see the person's disability as an illness which needs to be cured, fixed, and cared for through medical intervention and therapy, which is the medical model. The second one is the charity model. Some people might think that persons with disabilities are poor people, they deserve charity and welfare, and we perceive them as vulnerable and passive objects deserving charity or welfare so they can live fulfilling lives. Well, at first glance, this might not seem negative. However, viewing the person with disabilities this way fails to recognize their views as important and diminishes their independence and autonomy. The third model, as you can see right here, is the social model. So persons with disabilities are disabled by barriers in society. We need to eliminate the barriers. So the social models say that people are disabled by barriers in society, not by their impairment or difference. And disability is socially constructed. And the human rights model declare that all humans have the same rights. So you can see right here, it's not about, again, characteristic of persons with disabilities. Through the models, we can see that it leads to the final model, meaning human rights model. At the end of the day, well, all humans that have the same rights, and the impairments, whether it's sensory, or mentally or physically, cannot hinder one to obtain and have their own right. We are all equal. And I think the human rights model speaks that, when whatever we are, who we are, we share the same rights. That it's important to remember. The next slides, we're gonna talk, more about the human rights model. All humans have the same rights. So how the model sees disability is that this sees the persons with disabilities as the rights holders. So if you remember the first one, so they say that it's a medical model. People say that. Some people might say that persons with disabilities are poor people, we should fix or cure them. The charity model say that people with disabilities are poor people and deserve charity and welfare. But the human rights model right here say that we see the person as rights holders. So what does it mean? So this model shifts the focus away from individual impairments and towards the barriers and societal factors that prevent persons with disabilities from fully participating in society. And this model emphasizes that disability is not solely a result of a person's impairment, but rather the result of interaction between the individual and the environment that they live in. And by adopting this model, societies can work towards, creating a more inclusive and equal environment for persons with disabilities, enabling them to participate fully in all aspects of life. Yes. So as you can see right here, if we follow the human rights model, it will treat the disability, we apply the policies to raise awareness, like more people should know about disability inclusion, more importantly, more people should join the movers workshop. We should enforce the laws to promote disability inclusion in all social aspects, whether it's school, family, work, or community. And you can see right here who is the duty bearer on disability issues. It's the states, or ministry, and society. Yeah. Let me just quickly go through. As you can see, so to talk about the 4 model that brings us to the 5 model, the human rights model. It's also my first time, learning about this, and I also hope that for all of you who haven't known about these models before, we can start to reframe and then using the right model to see, persons with disability in a more inclusive way. It also reminds me of, there's this one very famous marketing campaign that I used to learn back in school. It's actually from IKEA. And then they say that this ability, but in another word, not disability, not disabled, but disable. So by switching that, it's not disabled, it's disabled. This person is able. We mean that everyone is equal and we share the same rights. So yeah, really hope that after this we can, take on this idea and being more inclusive as well. Moving on to the next slides, I want to ask you to share on the chat what's the major difference between the human rights model and the other 3 models. So in case you forget about the other 4 models that we have, so we have the medical models, we have the charity models, we have the social model, and we have the human rights model. So please feel free to share in the chat. What do you see is the major difference between all of these models? Yeah. Caitlin, I want to ask you, what's the major difference between the human rights model and the other models as well?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Jules. I think I have been hosted this for a few times, and it's always a different perspective when I host every disability inclusion workshop. I think for me, what makes me really pissed off, I mean not pissed off, but maybe kind of like a trigger thing is like the charity model. Because in Malaysia, right, because some people when we see in society, I think Shan knows really well as well. So Shan is also like me from Malaysia. So every time we see like people going out there and just like, and they will just like put some newspaper cutting. I'm not sure the source is real or not, but I'm just not discriminating the OKU community, but it's just like the person with disabilities in Malaysia, that's what we call. And every time when I see the newspaper cutting or just like, and I'm just asking, are we really like perceived as society like that we are really something that is putting out there, just like something for us, for the people in Malaysia or any people where in the world to be sympathized or empathized? I think no. But for the social model, I guess like, yes, we do be involved. But I think the social model is like, we are not really involved enough. We're not really, our voice are really is like not heard enough. And something like every time it's like the Ministry of Women and Community. Shan, I think very understand. It's called in Malay. We call it like Kementerian Wanita and Pembangunan Keluarga. So it's like the Women Ministry and Community Ministry in Malaysia. So I think it is that we need to like social model is like, it's not just like getting like involved. You need to really be involved with the whole model. It's like, I'm just like, no, it's like I'm not asking you to go to the ministry and just like, hey, we just want to talk you to this and we will really do it. But then after talking, I'll be like, okay, I'm not doing this, I don't see any progress. You need to really be involved and just like this thing you involve and then you just get into it. So that's the between the model to me. But I think the humorized model is like what Joe says, to be keep it short, is like everyone is equal, and the medical model is like, I'll just go diffusion therapy, something like that.
Mm. Mm-mm. Yeah, I think I resonate with Caitlin a lot on this because I feel like many people who haven't many people who still have the thoughts and the thinking that of the medical model or the charity model. But I think, as more and more people joining movers right now, and also thank you for joining today's session. I think slowly more and more people will start to use the human rights model because that's the right way that we can, see persons with disabilities. And it's also a model where, Caitlin said that everyone is involved in everything, and it's not hindered from anything. So thank you so much, Caitlin, for sharing. Let's move on to the next slide. So we will have the persons with disabilities are subjects with rights. So what does that mean? So the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, or so-called UNCRPD, which was signed back in 2007, marks a significant change in how we think about disabilities. Persons with disabilities are no longer seen as unable to participate in society or as individuals who need to be changed or to fit in. Instead, their abilities are acknowledged and emphasis is placed on society's need to adapt to facilitate the full participation of these individuals. So in short, you can see on the screen, it's that instead of, treating persons with disabilities in the wrong way. So on the left-hand side, you can see that sometimes persons with disabilities are treated as objects of charity, medical treatment, or social protection, like the three other models, while the right way to see persons with disabilities, which are subjects with the rights. So that means they are capable of claiming those rights, able to make decisions for their own lives based on their free and informed consent and be active members of society. Again, I think it complement the human rights model. So the human rights model talk about all human beings should be treated equally and have the same rights. And in this slides, we see that what is that rights? What are the rights? The rights is that everyone, person with disabilities, us, everyone, we have the capable of claiming those rights. And we are, have the free will to make any decision with our life that we want to be. Not in terms of charity, medical treatment, or social protection. No, need to free from that. And persons with disabilities are active members of society as well. So yeah, moving on to this next slide, just to check again, if you remember the 4 types of disabilities, please share in the comment section. The 4 types of disabilities that you, in your own language, in your own explanation, what you think of the 4 types of disabilities. Feel free to share in the chat. Thank you, Caitlin. I'm reading through the comment section for a while. So City say that I believe that human rights model are most linked to the elements of comprehensive equality and inclusivity. I think I totally agree on, City opinion. I think it's the highest level of, inclusion where everyone got involved in the process. For Caitlin, it's the charity model. Don't take anyone as money tool in a very normal words. So if you don't remember the 4 type of the models, you can look at Caitlin model. It's social model. It's medical model. Thank you, Caitlin, for very understandable words. Yeah, and we can see right here 4 types of disabilities people have put in the comment section which are sensory, physical, mental, intellectual. Yeah, thank you both Mia and Kavya. You can't heal and thrive without community abled and disabled alike. This is why it's important to have programs like this too. Thank you so much, Shar, for your comment. I think the very much, on the same page with what you just shared. A community abled is a community that no one is excluded and everyone is included in the process and try to learn and understand what are our capabilities in the right way and see the persons as who they are, not the impairments or anything that hinder them from participating in the society. Let's move on to the next one, where we will discover 4 types of disabilities. So the 4 types of disabilities is that the first one is physical. So physical disabilities mean the upper or lower limbs disability, manual dexterity, or organs coordination disability. The sensory disabilities will be related to vision or hearing disabilities. The third one is intellectual disabilities, which are limitations in cognitive functioning or skills. Skills that we mean here is communication, social, and self-care skills. The final one is mental, or so-called psychosocial. It's the disability when someone with a mental health condition interacts with a social environment that presents barriers to their equality with others. So from many types of impairments that we've talked about earlier, those impairments lead to these 4 types of disabilities, as you can see right here. Yeah. Moving on to the next slides, we can see it's called invisible disabilities. What does that mean? So from the 4 types of disabilities, some are invisible disability, also known as hidden disabilities or non-visible disabilities, are disabilities that are not immediately apparent, are typically chronic illnesses or conditions that significantly impair normal activities of daily living. The term invisible disability also refers to symptoms such as debilitating pain, fatigue, dizziness, cognitive dysfunctions, brain injuries, learning differences, and mental health disorders, as well as hearing and vision impairments. They're not always obvious to the onlooker, but sometimes or always limit daily activities, range from mild challenges to severe limitations, and vary from person to person. And that is to say, many people with invisible disabilities don't use assistive devices. Therefore, a disability cannot be determined solely by whether or not a person uses assistive equipment or not. So for the visible and invisible disabilities as well, you can see that beside the 4 types of disabilities, we also see another type of disabilities, which are the invisible one, and it's much harder to notice because they might not use any assistive equipment. So yeah, it's important to learn about this as well. Moving on to the next slide, it's about disability in different conditions. So what does that mean? It's important to notice that a person with disability might be regarded as a person with a disability in one society or setting, but not in another, depending on the role that the person is assumed to take in his or her community. So that is to say, in summary, it's the perception of disability varies across societies and setting, and the reality of disability is influenced by available technologies, assistance, services, and cultural factors as well. Again, we have the example that we have been talking since slide 1, right? It's not the inability to walk that keeps a person entering a building by themselves, but it's the stairs, the physical one, that are inaccessible that keeps a wheelchair user from entering that building. So we should see the disability in different conditions as well. Moving on to the next slide. It's disability as a diverse groups. So what does that mean? People with disabilities are a diverse group of unique impairments, as we just explored all of the types of impairments earlier, different identities and experiences as well, and their appearances, behaviors, work styles, lifestyles, and needs can be different, even if they share the similar impairments. And some disabilities, right, may be visible, but we also talk about the invisible disability as well. So that it's to see that person disabilities is a diverse group, and to move our society towards a more inclusive and equal community and environment. The final slide of my part is that, can you share on the chat what percentage of the global population currently experiences significant disability? And while waiting for you to share it in the chat, I would like us to move on to the next part with Kavya. So this is all about my part, and I'll pass it on to Kavya, my facilitator of today. Kavya, are you there?
Yeah, thank you so much, Jules. So I would like to move forward with the slide. So as Jules asked you all to guess, so please write your answers in the chat so that we can move on forward with the next slide. So while you all try to take a guess, so can we have the next slide, please? Okay, so Caitlin was saying math question, I know, but I want to tell. Ding Long said 26%. So here we can see that it's about 16% of the global population. So here are some key facts about persons with disabilities. So there is an estimated 1.3 billion. It's about 16% of the global population that are currently experiencing significant disability. And this number is increasing due to following reasons like aging populations, war and conflict, natural disasters, and forced displacement. If we talk about aging populations, so as people get older, so they become more prone to chronic health conditions such as arthritis, cognitive problems, and heart diseases, etc. So it leads to increase in the number of disability as people start to age. And if we talk about war and conflict, then whenever there's a conflict or war in the region, it causes, physical disabilities from violence, bombing, and landmines, which is a significant contributing to having a disability. And the next, we have natural disasters. So when natural disasters like tsunami, floods, or hurricane, etc., when such natural disasters takes place, it actually results in physical disabilities. So here's like one of that example. And if we talk about forced displacement, so whenever there's a war and conflict or natural disasters, so it kind of forces people to flee from their part of the region to other region as a refugee. And when they have to stay in refugee camp or shelters, they don't have well sanitization, and they don't get proper nutrition, which can lead to uh, many physical disabilities, and the trauma displaced on them can lead to psychological disabilities. And same goes with the war and conflict. It's just not causes only the physical disability, but it can lead to trauma, which can lead to psychological disabilities as well. Next slide, please. So here are some key facts about persons with disabilities. So as we can see that 1 in 5 women, they are more likely to experience disability during their life, and 1 in 10 child is a child with disability, and there are 46% of persons that are aged 60 years or above that are people with disabilities. Next slide, please. So here's the list which tells that persons with disabilities they are more vulnerable to poverty. So there's around 60% of people with disabilities, those are women, and 80% of people that have to live with disabilities, they live in low and middle income countries, and there are 50% of people with disabilities that cannot afford health care. So here's some kind of numbers that can give you the idea about the percentage of people that have to live with a disability. Next slide, please. So here are some barriers to full inclusion of persons with disability. And these are environmental barriers, inaccessible to information and technology, legislation, and attitudinal barriers. If we talk about environmental barriers, it's the barriers that are created in our environment that causes physical obstacle with people with disabilities, because they cannot access public spaces. So in another slides, we'll look at one of the examples as well. So the physical obstacles are caused in our environment. It's one of the environmental barriers. But if we talk about inaccessible to information and technology, is the kind of barrier that is related to digital barrier, we can say, because it makes people with disability, it makes them unable to have access to some digital formats. And if we talk about legislation, so we have law and order that either they support people with disabilities or they create hindrances. So if the law and order is creating hindrances for people with disability, then it's definitely one of those barriers. And if we talk about attitudinal barriers, then it's the barrier that society forms a perception about the disabled people. Like they would come up with different stereotypes. They would have their own perception of people with disability. So it's a form of attitudinal barriers. Next slide, please.
Navya, can you check the Zoom message?
There was like a breakout room. Okay, so yeah. Here we have a universal design and accessibility. So universal design is really important to remove, it's okay, Jules, to remove barriers for people with disability. And if we have inclusive universal design, it makes it easier for people with disability to access them. And as we had like just talked about one of the environmental barriers, so as here we have the example of in the picture, the environmental barriers that they create obstacles for people with disabilities. So as you can see on the left side of the picture, so here's the person in the wheelchair, and due to the stairs are inaccessible to them, so it's not possible for them to access it. But if you see on the right side, so there's a ramp, and the person in the wheelchair, it's easier for them to access that ramp. So this is the one of the examples that we can look up to when we talk about the environmental barriers. So it is really necessary to to create universal designs and have an inclusive accessibility. Next slide, please. So here's another example for if you talk about accessibility for the persons with disability. It's design manual for a barrier-free environment. As we talked, that is environmental barrier is one of the barriers that people with disability have to go through. So on the left side, as you can see, stairs. So it's obvious that it's not possible for a person who's in a wheelchair or have like any other issues that they cannot access the stairs. But if you see on the left side, here we have a seamless ramp, which is one of the examples of a universal design and inclusive accessibility. Next slide, please. And here we can see the design of products, environments, programs, and services that should be usable by all people to the greatest extent possible without the need for adaptation or specialized design. So it is really important to have universal design from right to the start, that is that can be comfortably and effectively used by the disabled people. So as on the left side, it's not a good example of a universal design, but if we see on the right side, the elevator, the buttons on the elevator, it has braille engravings on them, which makes it possible and accessible for the disabled people to access the elevator. Next slide, please. And here we will talk about the reasonable accommodation. So it is really necessary, and it should be appropriate modification and adjustments by just not imposing a disproportionate or undue burden where it is needed in a particular case. And it is really necessary to ensure to persons with disabilities the enjoyment or exercise on an equal basis with others of all human rights and fundamental freedoms. So it is really necessary to have a reasonable accommodation for people with disabilities, because because we need to ensure that they are able to exercise the equal rights just as other human beings, and the fundamental freedoms are being practiced. Next slide, please. So here we have some logos to learn. So as we saw the examples of environmental barriers, but barriers for disability, it is just not just limited to environmental barriers, but here we have some digital barriers as well that people with disability have to go through. So if we talk about digital accessibility, it's a type of accessibility which can be presented in the form of digital tools, websites, or platforms which has, some type of provisions for people with disabilities to be able to access. So it is really, really necessary to have digital inclusion as well, as well as other inclusions and universal adaptations. So here we have on the left side, if you see, we have two hands with OK sign. So it's a symbol of a sign language. And we have infinity rainbow, which is for neurological disabilities. And we see the person with cane, which amplifies a visually impaired person. And in the top left silhouette, it's the person with psychological disabilities. So here are the different types of disabilities as we just talked about. So it's really, really necessary to have inclusive digital accessibilities, because it could be through screen recorders, closed captions, and we have like really diverse technological tools these days. So if we use technology, if we make technology more inclusive and accessible, it'll be more easier for people with disabilities to have access to those tools, and it can really enhance their the way they use digital tools and their digital learning. Next slide, please. And here we need to learn that we need to confront our stereotypes of persons with disabilities. It's one of the stereotypes, is one of the barriers that people with disabilities have to go through, because in society, people in society, they have different perceptions and beliefs about people with disability. The first one could be, they could say such thing that disability is a bad thing, and to live with disabilities is sad. So what people with disability, they need is your empathy, not sympathy. And here's another point of view. So some people have this perception that persons with disabilities, they are brave and optimistic, and they can be our inspiration. So this is also not like a really good point of view, because people with disability, they do not want to be your inspiration. They are just like other human beings. So we really need to, come out of those stereotypes, and we need to confront our unconscious. I mean, I'm not saying that it can be intentional. Sometimes it can be unintentional as well. So, but we need to be more careful about our unconscious biases, and we need to confront these stereotypes to be able to eliminate this barrier from our society. Next slide, please. So here, yes, as we talk about that, we need to recognize and be aware of our own unconscious biases, because I know sometimes it's not intentional. Sometimes it can be unintentional as well. But we need to be, more careful and aware about our unconscious biases. And here we see that a quote by Stella Young, where she says that I'm not your inspiration. Thank you very much. So Stella Young was an Australian comedian, journalist, and an advocate for disabilities. So she stated that it's really harmful and wrong to have stereotypes of people with with disabilities, because it's really wrong to even say things like that. You are so brave, you are our inspiration, because they don't want to be your inspiration. They just want to be treated like just like every other human being. Next slide, please. So yeah, the persons with disabilities, they should not be objectified as inspiration, and we should be able to see disability from a new perspective. As we talked about, like people have this habit of like saying, oh, if someone is in a wheelchair, even have cognitive disabilities, and this person is a form of inspiration for us. I mean, just because they have this disability, that doesn't mean that they are different from any other human being. So this people with disabilities, they are just like us, and they want to, like do well. They want to perform their best, and they want to make mistakes, and they want to learn from their mistakes. So we really need to stop with this perception, the way we see people with disabilities that are as an inspiration. We should just see them as like any other human being, and we should treat them like they're just any other human being, regardless of what disability they have. Next slide, please. So yeah, disability is not just limited to one form of disability, because disability is kind of a form of diversity. So if we talk about neurodiversity, it's the type of disability that is often ignored when we talk about other forms of disability, because people with disabilities, they have like a special strength and weaknesses that challenge that their the weaknesses they have to face, that create some challenges. But despite having those weaknesses and facing those challenges, they also have some strengths that sets them apart from other individuals. So we should not ignore neurodisability when we talk about disability. So that is all from my end. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Kavya, so much for your insightful part. So next we're gonna move to Jinty, to part 2.
Yeah, thank you, Jules, and thank you, Kavya. Thank you for your incredible introduction. So now we have know the true definition of the disability. Disability does not mean less being able. Where I now talk about how we can advance disability inclusion as the young leaders. Next slide, please.
I think the mic is muted on the side. I mean the big screen.
Sorry, thank
Sorry,
you
I'm
so much,
sorry. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kevin, for your recommendation. And maybe we
Yeah,
do the
gonna
part two.
start.
We're gonna start. Yeah, thanks, Jules and Kavya, for your incredible introduction. So for me, now we have known the true definition of the disability. So disability does not mean the less being able. Disability share the same dignity and intelligence as the others. We're now talk about how we can advance disability inclusion as the young leaders. And for UN, the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities acronym is CRPD. So it's a human rights treaty of the United Nations intended to promote and protect the rights and dignity of disability people. It is also the result of the decades of movements by the disability groups to change our attitudes and approaches to the person with disability. Also shift from the traditional, like the Jules and Kavya introduced the charity-oriented, the medical-based model to one based on human rights. So also there are some principles that I want to share with you. The 8 guiding, next slide. The 8 guiding principles of the CRPD. So I will leave some time for you to get an overview. And this principle serves a roadmap for creating a world where diversity is celebrated and every individual is treated with equality and respect. Now, as a young leader, you can apply the guiding principles, the 8 principles of the UNCRPD in everyday life by promoting inclusivity, advocating for the equal opportunities, and respecting the inherent dignity of person with disabilities. It is necessary to embrace diversity, challenge the discrimination, and ensure that your action contributes to more accessible and inclusive society for all. So next slide, please. And so I have a question for you to discuss. So in the SDGs, which goals specifically refer to the person with disabilities, we all know there are 17 plus goals for the SDGs. So which are the goals that you think have this strong relationship with the disabilities groups? You can type your answers in the chat box and maybe give some explanations of it. Because let me check the chat box.
Let me move to the chat box to see
Yes.
what the people are saying.
Caitlin said SDG 10 reduce inequalities. No, absolutely. Our whole workshop is about the inclusions of disabilities. So there are definitely some inequality discriminations among these group of people. So the SDG 10 reduce the inequalities. Yes, any other answers? Maybe you can imagine about the discrimination, how the discrimination and the inequality arrange in the different field of life. And you can check from the SDGs, then you will know which field we can improve. Yeah, Kelly also said SDG 11, sustainable cities and communities. Yes, the sustainable cities and communities are the basic environment for the inclusions. So perfect answer, Kathleen.
I think for me, it's also like SDGs number 3. It's about well-being.
Yes, because the exclusions and discrimination will heavily damage the one's well-being, both the mental and the physical. Yes, so we need to protect the well-being for each of the groups too. Yeah. Also the SDGs 8, decent works and economics. Yes, because all the there may be the work and economics is one of the obvious outcome of the discriminations, like the disabilities. They always get some discrimination from the work field and treated unfairly, so they can't get decent works. You have a lot of answers. Equality, education. Yes, education is number 1 to raise awareness and educate the people. Because we all know maybe some disabilities they face a lot of the barrier of the education. That is what we need to figure out the way to help them to get educated. So maybe we can move to the next slide. So I believe you have get a lot of the answers and awareness of it. Frankly speaking, comprehensively, all of the SDGs have the relations with the disability inclusions, but we choose the 4 SDGs you can see in this frame have the strong relationship. There are many indicators, targets specifically refer to person with disabilities across the following goals. The SDGs 4 mentioned the quality education, and the goal 8, decent work and economic growth. Also, the goal 10, reduced inequalities, and the goal 11, sustainable cities and communities. So you can see she is really expert and cover almost all of the answers. And the last but not least, the goal 17, the partnership for the goals. So on the top of that, person with disabilities are the target of every single goals. And maybe I want to explain more about the goal 70s, considering we have talked about the Formula 4 in the discussions. So the goal 70 stresses that in order to strengthen the means of implementations and revitalize global partnership for the sustainable development and the connection of data and monitoring and accountability of SDGs and inclusion, member states are called upon to enhance the capacity building support to developed countries, including least developed countries, and which would significantly increase the availability of high quality, timely, and reliable data that is also distributed by the disabilities. So that's why we put the goal 17 only 2. Yeah, maybe next slide. So we have seen there are lots of goals have the strong connection with the SDGs, then we can explain the reasons. So the SDGs relies on the inclusion of persons with disabilities, the pledge to leave no one behind, the LNOB, in the development efforts, and to reach those who are the furthest behind. First, it's fundamental to supporting persons with disabilities. And persons with disabilities should be actively engaged in the efforts to achieve the SDGs, not only as a group that has been consistently left behind, but also as invaluable partners and agents of the change. And there are also many social startups are committed to leave no one behind this project. Maybe here I want to introduce 3 outstanding examples for you who want to get the access or who want to find a idol. The first one is the Alpha. Alpha Tech is a Korean startup and developer of self-learning, the braille devices and software for the blind and partially sighted people. So according to the SDG for the quality educated, we all know the writing and reading are two of the most important ways that people connections and get educated. And for some people, maybe blind or the partially sighted people, they have lots of barriers to learn and read and study. So this technology company provides these devices for them to get the better and quality educated. And next slide. Yes, and the second is the DeafTalk. So DeafTalk is a Pakistan innovation online solution that connects the deaf community with qualified sign language interpreters around the world, allow them to communicate effectively and access the device they need. And also, not only the voices, and also I know some the techniques and the device they can interpret the characters into the braille or the other things they can understand, because a lot of the like the deaf people or disabilities are limited to the education. They maybe can't read the characters, and such of the devices and the platforms can help them to get connections with others. And next slide. Yeah. The third one is the Amity. The Amity aims to create sustainable products by using banana fabric from Lao women with disabilities and working with people with disabilities. So that is to the decent work and economics. So we all know the disabilities may face some maybe obvious or the hiding discriminations on the working field. So it's difficult for them to find a decent jobs. And Amity aims to provide the sustainable productions to disability women in Laos. And also this company not only help the disability to find additional work, they also help to the climate protections because it's a sustainable product and using the banana fabric. Then I will pass to this part to Caitlin.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jinyi, Jules, and Kavya, and also Vivian, for holding the session so long, because I was in the car going from Selangor to Malacca. Now I'm currently settled down, and I was doing some work in between, so bear in mind with my eyes going around. So yeah, so as what Ginny says, we have seen the people with disabilities, they have work and they have like some entrepreneurship helping them to achieve some careers like I do. I work as a Digital Communications Associate, UNV, in UNDP, Malaysia. And now we want to know what are the inclusive language and how can we interact with persons with disabilities. So we can go to the next slide. So what is disability inclusive language and why is it important? So inclusive language, they seek to treat all people with respect, dignity, and impartiality. So we can go to the case studies. So there are 4 statements in the case studies. Next slide. So how can we introduce people with disabilities? So we go to the case studies of Bob Brown and Sally Baker. Next one. So I'm not gonna read all the statements. So I'm just gonna ask everyone directly. So which of the statement is indicating persons with disability? Example 1, 2, 3, or 4. So we have 2 answers here. And we're not gonna review the answer. We're just gonna let everyone to type the answer in the chat box to see what it is. I know the host already knew, so we'll see how the participants know which statement is really related to this case. We'll just give like a couple of minutes to see how many people know this statement, right? Okay. Do say 4. Yeah. Good question, Jules. I'm also thinking the same. Which statement is right? We have 2 answers, everyone. So just log down your answers. Okay, Siti said 1. We'll reveal the answer soon. Anyone else beside Siti? Siti, do you have any other answer? Okay. Okay, thanks, Jules. So the answer already revealed. So the answer already revealed.
Everyone just keep on guessing.
Keep on guessing until we review the answer. Just now it's the error, okay? Just now it's the error. Like the one we forgot to turn on the mic in the meeting room.
Okay, we haven't seen anything, Caitlin. And everyone else give your answers to Caitlin.
Okay. We'll just give another like maybe 10 seconds to give everyone to get the brain going. Come on, guys. It's not like a test. It's just like a guessing game, okay? Guess, guys. Just guess only. Okay. Okay, we have seen people locking in their answers. Are you sure this is the answer? So if you lock the answer, you can't change anymore. I'm kidding. It's like a game show. I should watch a game show, like those game show every time at the end of the workshop. Yeah.
So Caitlin, for all of your previous experience facilitating disability inclusion workshop, how many people often guess this questions right? What's the percentage look like for you?
I can say it's like 20%.
Only 20%.
20% because not people will read the statement very carefully. And people will just like, I'll just read the statement and I'll just like I'll just shoot, I'll just shoot the answer which one is right. Some get right, some didn't get right. But after that review, it's just like, oh, that's how I should introduce people with disabilities next time. So yeah. And okay, I think time is up, so we can review the answer.
Yeah, we have some comment on the comment section. So let's move. Okay.
Okay, so those who guess number 1 and 3, congratulations. Because when we introduce people with disability, just don't focus on their disability, focus on the person itself, because it's like you're introducing a new friend, a new colleague, or a family member to anyone in your community. Like, for example, if I'm meeting Jules for the first time in person, which I'm looking forward to her trip to Malaysia, and Ginny as well. So when Jules or Ginny like introduce me to anyone, they just don't say, they don't address my disability first. They address me like, this is Caitlin, she's from Malaysia and she is working where and where. And that's where I come and be like, oh, I have cerebral palsy, something like that along the way. So whenever you meet a person with disability, it's either your family, your friends, your colleague, address the person by their name and follow by their disability, because putting the disability behind, it's like raising an awareness. What should they know and what should they do when interacting with them? So we can go to the next one. Okay. This is another example. So which of the following do you think is more more inclusive? So there are a few statements, a few statements here. And yeah, so just a little bit introduction to Joanna. So Joanna is the speaker for imposter syndrome yesterday, and I actually helped her to hype up the scene, isn't it, Joanna? If you want to say hi. Yeah, she gives us a heart. So yeah, thank you for the response. Okay. Jules, again, if you want to ask me this question, I have hosted this a few times, and for this one I can say yes, another 20% who get people some people get right. I mean, not all of them. 20% of the people still get right on this question, on this question.
That's tough. I'm gonna read these statements really carefully with Jinji. Okay.
Yes. So another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We can review the answer since no one is.
Hold on, Caitlin. I'm
yes.
reading it.
We have.
Okay, example 1. I try to play with my colleague's guide dog to show my kindness. 2. I give verbal cues to describe a changing environment when working with a colleague with visual impairment. I lean on and touch my colleagues. What's that? Whenever I walk in my colleague. Why I feel like they're all not really inclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean personally we need to change this, but you know, whatever it is. But anyway, I see some of the answers coming in already. Some chose one, some got 2 answers, some got like a few answers. So I think we can review the answer already.
We don't have it? No?
I think okay. So just we go back. So those who have answered 2 and 4, congratulations, you are right. I think we can I think increase the percentage to like 25%. I would know it is 22%, but still not a lot of people know this answer. I can say it's 22% now after playing these 2 case studies, because okay, we know the dog is really cute. I mean, who doesn't love pets? Who doesn't love animal? I mean, I'm not an animal lover. Please don't kill me. So if you see the dog, because the puppy or the dog is like it's like the second eye. So please don't play with the second eye. Focus on the person. That's one. And the second example is because when we are changing environment, you just need to tell the person who has a visual impairment, and it's just like, oh, we're going to this room or the other room, because the people with visual impairment, they have really sensitive in hearing. So if you just like, okay, I'm just going out, and just be like, oh, going to where and where, so they don't know where is their environment is. So give specific environment description, like I'm going to the meeting room, I'm going to the small meeting room or whatever, I'm going to the manager's room or something. And as we all know, the third statement is like leaning on wheelchair is like a wheelchair is like a assistive device. I mean, it's not a device, but it's like kind of like a vehicle, which I like to call it the carriage because I also use one. So please don't touch the wheelchair because it's like because if you don't know how to control the wheelchair might, you know, just go anywhere and without losing control. If especially if we don't get the brake on. So the fourth statement is like if you want like anything, if you want to ask like anyone who's in a wheelchair and they have difficulty in pushing, just ask like, hey, can I push your wheelchair? Do you need help? If the person says no, respect the boundary. If the person says yes, please go ahead. So yeah. So those who answered 2 and 4, congratulations, you got it right. You are the part of the 22% of the case studies right now. Okay. So I think we can go to the next slide. So these are the inclusive languages for people with disabilities. So we're not going to go one by one. So we're just going to I'm just going to choose like a 4 to 5. So instead of saying disabled or the handicap, we can say with person with disabilities or the disabilities community. Or in Malaysia, we call it as orang kelainan upaya, or we know as the OKU community. That's the terms in Malaysia. And we don't say like, oh, she is normal, like normal in what sense? So to be specific is like we can say persons without disability. And just now, I already mentioned wheelchair is like, don't say wheelchair bound or like confined wheelchair or crippled because crippled can be anyone, right? So you just say wheelchair, we can a person who is using a wheelchair, or we can say like a person with physical disability. Like and just now in the example we said, when changing environment, right? So we just like when we meet someone with visual impairment, so don't say the blind, just say like visual impairments or partially sighted or people who are blind or have low vision and something like that and so on. And the last one I would like to highlight is don't see the person who is deaf, just see that he or she has a hearing impairment, because with this inclusive languages we actually like include the person not just with their disability, but include their person as a person instead of addressing their disability. Yes, we can address their disability, but the disability can come secondary afterwards. Next one. So what avoid to say, you just like, let's just say you're meeting me for the first time in person. It's just like, I don't know what to say. Should I say hi? Should I avoid what she doesn't like me or something? I can say, just say hi, okay? Just come out and say hi to me. And just to avoid using negative references, you know, associating with disability, and avoid like othering and demeaning language. Don't say like normal, ill, or disabled. Just use the inclusive language that we have learned earlier. And if you don't know, you can always refer back to this presentation, and you can always go back to the slides, and you just like, oh, I know what is this, I know what is this. And when you use this kind of inclusive language, and people would be like, oh, we do understand people, where are people coming from? Because what I can say is we don't know what the person is going through until we really walk into their shoes, or we really spend their day with the person. Okay, so next one. So please be careful what you say, if not you'll be cancel culture on that. I'm really saying. So basic tips for inclusive interaction. So we are doing this a little bit of chemistry, equation. It's called ABC plus same. So what are the ABC? So ABC we know we learn in school, right? So what are the ABC inclusive language for people with disabilities? So what's the A? A plus.
A, B, C. Okay, let's move to the next slide.
It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Okay, so A is assistance. We need to respond graciously and patiently to request for assistance. Like going back to the wheelchair user, right? It's like As for example, let's say I'm going out for I'm out in a shopping mall in a wheelchair. So I'm having difficulties. I'm like, getting around with the wheelchair. If no one is asking me, I'll just like, okay, I'll just go when everyone like everyone else. But if someone come up to me like, hey, do you need help? Like something like that, I would say yes. I will pause for a bit and would say yes. So if you want to help anyone, like for example, helping with a visual impairment person cross the road, you just ask like, hey, do you need help? And if he or she said yes, and just like just do what you do, help the person to cross the road. So we can go to the B part. B is be yourself, be natural and comfortable. Like what we always say, just don't worry about saying the wrong way or act the wrong way. Just don't act like, oh, because that person is with have disability, I need to act like I'm really empathizing that person. I'm really sympathizing that person. No, I don't like that, I just want to say this. I don't really like this kind of this kind of attitude, I would say. So if you want to if you want to make friends with me, or you just want to talk to me, just talk as a regular people. Just talk as you like talking to your friend, and be natural and comfortable. Because for me, I just want to give a fun fact to everyone, because I can really tell from the vibes that everyone gives. I can naturally sense like this person is faking, this person is just like want to be my friend, so they act like this way. So if you see anyone with person with disabilities or your family, just treat them with the equal respect that you want to be treated. Because if you don't want any family drama or anything in your within your friends and your community, just be yourself, be natural and comfortable, and just don't worry saying or acting the wrong way. But I just want to emphasize again and again, please show respect, because we are all human beings and we want to be respect in the way that we want to be respected. The next one is the C. You see, you see, you see.
Thank you so much, Kidney. Like, I mean, also want to add it on the B one. So like you talk about the very important elements. It's not like to worry what to say, but more like to show respect, because like what comes from her like will go to her. So showing the respect, it's the right way for this. And thank you for explaining it, Caitlin. Let's move to the UC.
You see what we need to see. The thing is, we need to check. Always ask before we need help. Like for example, if I want to go to the washroom and people, I mean, I'm able to go to the washroom, I will make sure that the female friend will follow me to the washroom, and they will ask, do you need help with anything? But mostly I would say yes, in a way. Well, except for my parents, my mom especially, she will help me a lot. But anyway, whenever I go with my friends, they'll be like, do you need help? Do you need anything? Yes. So just don't make assumptions what a person needs. Because when people with disability and people be like, oh, I just need help, I just go up and help. Just don't go readily like just help them like that. You just go up to them, be like going back to the be yourself, and you just like, do you need any help? Do you need any help to go to the washroom? Do you need any help with the wheelchair? Do you need going up to the car, to the bus? Always check, and before you help. If they say yes, then help. If they say no, just respect their boundary. And yeah, just like that. If you do the C, you see, you see the C with the C check. Just see, you see, just see the check. If you can see the check, and with that you are doing the ABC. Okay, so followed by A, B, C. Always the most important one is the C. You see, you see. You see, that's the C that we always need to see.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, A is assistance, right? And then B
Yeah.
is yourself. And then C is like check. I see. And I hope you all see that too. Let's move on to the next slide. Thank you.
Let's see. Okay, let's see. So after the C, it's like, oh, it's the same. So as what I have mentioned, treat the same way as people we want to be treated. Treat person with disabilities as the same you want to be treated as other. And I will say things again and again. Treat as we would like to be treated. So if we treat people with disabilities with the same equal amount of respect, then we gain the respect of ourselves, because I can see the reality of society and in my family as well. I just give one example. Because even though because we always assume that family, they know our condition, and sometimes we have family gatherings, and family will be like, oh, what is her condition? And you have to explain that again and again. If that family is aware of that situation, they won't ask, but they want to use the ABC plus same. If your family already still don't know about the condition, I can tell you, no family gatherings after that. You can, you can do your own thing. You can just like come up with the excuse like, oh, I'm just going out with my friends. I don't want to go to this family gathering anymore, because because they have already lost the respect in that context. So I think Jules and Dini or Kavya, I think you know that really well. When family don't respect us in any family gatherings, we know what to do. We run.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I
We
mean,
run, or we go shopping. Or we go eating.
Yeah, we hide.
yeah, that's a really good tactic.
I'm
Casey?
sure most of us here will have some family issues
Yeah.
here.
Yeah,
So yeah, so if any of your family don't respect with a family member with disability, you know what to do. Take them out the shopping and go for hours.
and then take them to the movers workshop so that they can learn about disability inclusion and meet with Caitlin.
Yes. Okay, now we already know that ABC plus same. Okay, this is the same.
Now the answer revealed.
Well, so what is the next one? Okay, how do we interact with people with physical disabilities? So, as I have mentioned, so I'm gonna be really quick because we have left 10 minutes. So every time when we meet a person with physical disability like me, do not ask me why do I need the crutches. Do not ask me why, because if I want to say, I say. If I don't want to say, that's fine by me or anyone else. But just don't lean or touch the wheelchair, because as I mentioned again and again, because if we touch or lean the wheelchair, what if the wheelchair is not on brake? What if the wheelchair is like not stable enough? Then the wheelchair will like slide through a flight of stairs or something, and that will really hurt the person who is a wheelchair user. So if you want to offer carry items, yes you can, but you always need to ask like, do you need how to carry the items? If they say yes, then yes. If they say no, then it's okay. They will find like other ways to carry items. And like if we meet person who has a physical disability, myself, you can either like speak at eye level. You can either like lean over or sit down at an eye level. So whenever I sit at a wheelchair, people will just like go down to my eye level. And if I stand with my crutches, I would just like stare at people, unless it's a tall person. So I would just like, looking up like that, like, hi. I'm sure all of us will struggle with talking to tall person. We just need to crane our neck up. Or unless the tall person would just like just lower down to our eye level. I don't know. Because when I talk to tall person, I'll be like, okay, hi. Something like that. Okay, so we can go to the next one. Like visual impairments, as I always say, if we see the puppy or dog, please don't be distracted by the pet. And we all know some people are pet lovers. I myself, I'm not a pet lover. Please don't kill me. Because the pets are their second eye, and just treat the pet and people with visual impairment is the equal respect. And always say your name very clearly, So they will know who they are, because people with visual impairments, like we have mentioned earlier, they have sensitivity in hearing. So if we speak a lot of things at the same time, people with visual impairments be like, oh, where is that person, where is that person? So just wait until one person speak, then you speak, because people with visual impairments, they need to listen to people one at a time. And if in I think in many cultures, like if it's culturally appropriate, they can shake your hand, so they won't be like, hey, where's your hand, where's your hand, I can't find where's your hand is. So you just like just grably, just if it's appropriate, just gently grab their hand and be like, hi, I'm who and who. And if they have a puppy or a dog, please don't touch the dog or don't distract it, because the dog is their second pair of eyes that help them to move around the room. Yeah, so we can go to the next one. And people who are hearing impairments, they always need like some assistive device to talk. So always use your gestures or body language to make them feel we are present in the room, or present to them. If they have an interpreter, just don't directly face the interpreter, because to me, I have a habit of like facing the interpreter. I need to shift my focus on the person itself. And you know and people with hearing impairments, just speak directly to the person, and not to the interpreter. Just use facial expression, gestures, and body language, because people with hearing impairments, they can study the body language well. So be sincere. Don't be like, oh, just don't cross your arms, or just your eye is like wandering anywhere, because hearing impairments, they are not people with visual impairments, so they can sense like whether we are really sincere or not when talking to them. Okay, so when we are calling someone, right, especially with hearing impairments, let the phone ring longer, because people who has hearing impairments will take a longer time to pick up the phone, or they don't pick up the phone at all. So what they do is they prefer phone over text. Yeah. So just a few tips for everyone. Okay. Then we can go to the next one. So as with hearing impairments, people with speech disability, we need to talk very slowly, because for me, for example, when I was attending the One Young World ASEAN in June 2022, I actually saw one person who is having a assistive device, and I thought it was a voice recorder, and she's like, no, this is the assistive device. So what I did is I just like talk very slowly to the assistive device, and she can listen what I'm saying, because with speech disability, because we tend to speak very fast in our languages. We just like speak very fast, but with people with speech disability, we need to talk in a very slow but firm manner when we interact with them, so they can listen to everyone we can say. I think Jules is turning off the microphone on the big screen. Do you have any technical problem?
No, yeah. Like I want to say like also thank you, Kathleen, for pointing that, because like when you say need to be like careful and speak slowly to the device, I think it's also like new to me. I've never I've never known about this. I think after this session I can learn and know the next time when I see someone with the speech assistive a device, what should I do? Yeah, just wanted to say that.
Yeah. And Jules, can you help me? And Jules, Jeannie, can you help me to read the comment section left by Mia?
Sure. So Mia say that interesting inclusive versus inclusive language. So my understanding from a research paper that I read last year was that people who have disabilities, the majority prefer to refer to themselves as disabled, that rather than person with disabilities. Can I also suggest not to leave voice message for their WhatsApp?
Oh
Speak
yeah,
in
oh yeah.
form of own experience of having a hearing disability. That's what
Okay.
for me.
Yeah, everyone, you heard Mia. Please don't leave any WhatsApp voice messages. She prefers text. Mia, if I may ask, do you prefer text, right? On WhatsApp? Okay, so we're just
Yes,
waiting
that's
for her.
correct. Definitely. And I have especially a lot of people use WhatsApp nowadays or similar platforms, and many tend to record messages so that you get to, you'd meant to hear them, right? And in some instances, what WhatsApp can actually facilitate, and they can provide the transcript for those messages. But just be mindful, if you have people with hearing disabilities that you interact with, don't leave the voice messages, because it takes time to interpret them and just makes life a lot harder. So yeah, just an idea.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mia. I think this is a very important point for anyone who has hearing who has a hearing impairment. So if you want to leave text, just leave really clearly, because I do understand text messages can like sometimes leave some clues or lines in between that are misunderstood. So just be careful what you write, guys. Be careful what you write. So we can go to the next one. Interacting with cognitive disabilities or different learning styles, because like me, because I have some of my brain is kind of like the brain socket is like not properly charged anywhere, as I like to say, because sometimes when I learn anything, I need my colleague to repeat what I have to say, because some people, I mean most people without disabilities, they can take really things like really quick in a snap. But for me, from my personal experience, I can see I can see people need to repeat the things a lot of times. Like I think with my call with Jules, with the video and everything, I need to ask her like a few times, like, and she is always so patient with me, like, oh yeah, this you need to do this, you need to do this. And after I have write everything down on my office work notebook, and I have to repeat everything what we have discussed, so I won't miss any point. So one thing with cognitive disabilities or different learning styles, we need to be very, very patient, flexible, and supportive, because we all know not all people are really patient, flexible, or supportive. Some people are really harsh. That's the reality of society. And when we give instructions, give simple and understandable format for everyone to know, and just provide written instructions or pictorial cheat sheets from to let the people with different learning styles and cognitive disabilities to know what is the picture, and always take time to understand, to make sure that the people will understand you, because sometimes they understand this, but we want the outcome is slightly different. So just give super clear instructions to avoid misunderstanding. We can go to the next one.
Thank you, Caitlin, for sharing that. Just want to add, like working with you on the, reels videos also teach me that sometimes we need to be very clear on what we need to communicate with people. I mean, people in general as well. So it's so professional of you that you have a, notebook that you like list like 1, 2, 3, and then reconfirm that. It's really what I learned from you. It's for not only for communicating, but also professional working style that reconfirm if that's the outcome that people want. So yeah, just want to say that. Move on to the next slide.
Next one. Okay, interacting with visible and with disabilities, because it's like I know earlier in the call we have JJ, who is a very dear former colleague of ours, and now he is working in another organization. And I still remember he has this ADHD. JJ is a person with ADHD, so he has difficulty in focusing in something. So people with ADHD, they were just like need to their mind is like wandering around, so they maybe have like trouble concentrating, or maybe they are tired and they need to take more breaks in between, and they need more time to complete tasks. But I think more time to complete tasks, because for me, from my personal experience, I'm really slow in my I can say it's more on my motor skills. So every time when my colleague like ask me to do a lot of things at the same time, so I just like tell them like, can you give me some time? I need to complete this task, then I'll just get back to you later on. So they say yes. So luckily the things that I do mostly they are very happy with the outcome. Yeah. So if they need something like due to conditions and medication, do understand they might have this side effects, or maybe something that is really bothering them. So just be patient and be understanding with them, with person with invisible disabilities. So we can go to the next one. So yeah, this is the last one, guys. So this is today's takeaway. So we have learned to know more about disabilities and person with disabilities, and we have learned about the UN and some social enterprises like Genie in the second part. And like for my part, we learned about inclusive languages and how to inclusive to interact with person with disabilities. So I think this is the end of the slide. So before we end on the photo taking, so Jules and Jeannie, do you have any last words, any last advices to our participants in this session?
You want to go first?
Yeah.
Yes, because for me, it's a brand new word. Even though I maybe close to the fellow student who also have the disabilities, and he carry with the wheels, but I never had the experience with like the partly sighted or the blind or deaf person before. So I learned a lot of the advices, also the actions of what I should do in the future, and I can respect them more. And so that is all for me, and I hope all of the participants like me can also learn a lot from these workshops. Yeah, and that's all for me.
Oh yeah, guys, just to break a record, because this is the first workshop that Jeannie and I host together.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's to the fun.
Let's say more and more in the
Yeah,
future.
finally we break the record.
Yeah, 很快乐.
Yeah, different participation.
I think for me it would be, disability inclusion. Like Caitlin will speak about this, but it's one of the most lengthy workshop and heavy curriculum for people to facilitate, and that's why I'm so thankful for everyone who's joining this workshop, for Vivian to host this and then invite us to be facilitators. We really hope to receive any feedback from you in the comment section or later on Movers Program Instagram. And I think personally for me, today I learned a lot about what is it about disability, even from the participants as well. Some person say that Mia say that she read a paper and the person with disabilities prefer to be called disabled. I didn't know about this before, and also other statistic number. It's just really interesting to see that many of us are working towards a more inclusive world, and also reading a lot of paper about that. The key takeaways could be one, inclusive language, the ABC plus same structure that Caitlin guided us through in a very interesting way. And then the second thing is never see a person with disability cannot enter the building, but it's the stairs that hinder and avoid them from entering that. I think that example stuck with me quite a long time. So yeah, thank you. And back to you, Caitlin. And you want to say
Jules. Thank you,
anything?
Ginny. And I mean personally, because I have hosted this a few times on many occasions, especially with Jules and first time with Ginny. So I hope Ginny is okay with my hosting because yeah, I hope Ginny is okay with my hosting with her on this part. So personally, I think it's like I learn something new every day, and I have always have like news perspective when people talking about their experience, because especially parents who have children with disabilities, they don't understand until they met another family who had disabilities, like maybe their children or their relatives. And as they talk into the conversation, I can feel that it's not the empathy, it's not the sympathy, but rather the understanding is there and the struggles is there. So I just want to say that we are not alone. We are not alone doing this. So everyone is need the support that we can to support the people with disabilities community. And if you can, just come to Malaysia and just spend a day with me and see my personality, see how crazy it is. I'm sure Ginny and Jules know my personality, and also Vivian as well through various workshops. I know you ladies, know what my personality is like. And you will know more about me when you come to Malaysia. Please. Okay.
Thank you, Caitlin,
Thank
and
you.
definitely coming to Malaysia to see you and your craziness with our craziness as well. But everyone, just a reminder that this is the first workshop of our Movers for LNOB workshop series. We're gonna have the other 3 workshops coming. So please stay tuned, join the Movers for LNOB WhatsApp community, follow Movers program on Instagram and LinkedIn to keep updated with the latest info on facilitators and upcoming workshops. Yay, thank you.
Yeah, and before we really end the session, we would like to kindly ask everyone to turn on their cameras, just for a 10-second, fix your hair a bit or something, because we're gonna take the very iconic movers photo at the every end of the workshop. So Ginny and Jules, need because it's a big meeting room. Oh, hi Maria, mabuhay. So just turn on your camera, everyone. So I'm just gonna get into the post. So we have the small heart, the Korean heart. We have the Taylor Swift heart, the Caitlyn heart, as I like to say. We have the Linka/Ongsing heart, the big heart, and we have the C heart. Can I call the Maria heart because it's like, yeah, we have the Maria heart. So just 4 out of 5 you choose one. Oh, hi Vivian, you're lucky you're here to join us in the end. So yeah, 4 out of 5 you choose one. So Ginny or Jules, you want to take a photo, or Vivian, you want to take over?
Vivian, can you help us to do it?
Yeah.
Please, Huimo.
Both of us hands are occupied.
Who will take it? Vivian, can you help us?
Vivian, just
Vivian?
give us a countdown, okay? Vivian, give us a countdown.
Vivian is free. You okay?
Vivian's freezing. Vivian.
I think she's taking it. Okay.
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 Thank you, Vivian. And thank you,
everyone.
everyone. Thank you, Shar, for sharing a lot. Thank you, CT, Julian, Euros, Vivian, Maria, Caitlin, everyone to stay with us until the end.
Thank you, everyone. So just we have 3 more episodes. So this is the first episode. Congratulations, you have gone through. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.